Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon. What the fuck is the NFL thinking with this lowering the helmet rule bullshit perna? That, of course, is my maiden name. And we will look at several examples of this new rule with flags being thrown for hits like this. And I will reiterate why this new rule is stupid. So stupid. Impossible to follow. And then tell you how it can be fixed. And then we can take our contempt for the rule, channel that anger in a positive way, and write those feelings of football betrayal onto some thick, stiff cardstock paper, put it in an envelope, and politely mail it to Roger Goodell so he can read it, assess its merit, and shove it up his ass! Right up their ass! I don't even know if this is fully his fault, but he definitely deserves to have paper cuts on his ass. In his ass. Sorry, this episode is about the head, not the ass. That's good sports. Please, if you're new to this channel, subscribe. If you're not new, click that stupid little fucking notification button. I hate it, but you gotta click it. I do have big dick Patreon shout outs for Carlos Oliva and Jeff Maddox upping their donations, Andrew 666, Luke Gonzalez, Aya Fau, Eric B, Nelson D upping his donation to $10, Daniel Bachman, and Timothy Frazier. I love you guys. Yes, you can keep this channel alive on Patreon, patreon.com/thatsgoodsports. I do monthly giveaways. We just did a jersey. Next month, something cool. Let me briefly explain what the new rule is in case you don't know, before I tear it apart like a cheesy gordita crunch at 2 a.m. on a Saturday night. The rule is written, it is a foul if a player lowers his head to initiate and make contact with his helmet against an opponent. Seems simple, right? And the NFL has stated it wants to eliminate this body posture when players go in for hits. The problem is, even when you try and lead with, say, your shoulder, your head will go down with it. The other problem is, NFL referees are just using this rule to now flag hard hits. For example, this guy is not in that body posture when he initiates a hit. His head is up, but he's still flagged.
Come on! It's not even that. He didn't go linear. He didn't duck his helmet.
This Detroit Lion, definitely not in that body posture. He's upright. Flagged. Ooh, here's a double dose of hits. Both players nearly upright. Flagged. The body posture is lowered the way they mentioned here, but the hit is shoulder on shoulder, still flagged. My point is, your head can be down and you can still hit someone without using your head, but you'll still get flagged, which is a logistical nightmare for players and referees. See how your head's connected to your shoulder? Kind of a biological problem for football players. Another major issue with the rule is the phrasing, lowering the head to initiate contact. The NFL's biggest demographic is men. As men, we spend our entire lives trying to convince a woman or another man to lower their head to initiate contact with us. If you want male fans to support this rule as a penalty, it should be called using your head for violence against America. Boom, problem solved. Now my favorite example of this rule, making the game look softer than my flaccid penis while I watch clips of Alex Jones scream about conspiracies, is the hit flagged in the Packers-Steelers game. Not only do neither of these defenders lead with the helmet, they ease up before initiating the hit. Nobody was in danger of being hurt on this play. These guys literally, metaphorically, put on the brakes before the hit and still get penalized. Nobody likes this new rule. The players hate it, the fans hate it, the announcers hate it, so who the hell is the NFL trying to appeal to? I think Dan Patrick had my favorite reaction to this conundrum.
Linear body. Why does the NFL do this?
When you add something to the game that is universally hated, you have to correct it. It's like the NFL rule makers are severe alcoholics, and everyone is telling them they have a drinking problem, but they refuse to acknowledge it because they're rich. Brian Urlacher, very, very articulate about this new rule.
What do you think of this helmet rule? Real quick, just to throw a football question.
I don't like it.
Nobody likes it.
I don't like it.
Some might argue the NFL is trying to protect its own ass. Remember, they settled a giant concussion lawsuit. You can't have more players suing them for CTE, right? Look, nobody wants to see more players get hurt, and nobody will say head injuries are a good thing. The reason the NFL took a PR hit for concussions isn't because the game is dangerous. We already know that. It's why we admire the guys who risk their health to play it. The problem we have with concussions is the NFL hid how dangerous they were from players for years. You didn't get sued because the game is violent. You got sued because you're lying sacks of shit. You got sued because you treated head injuries like a broken finger. Just tape it up, get back out there, play through it, you'll be fine. We swear. As long as players understand the risks, nobody is going to blame the NFL for long-term side effects from the game. You cannot remove head injuries from football. All you can do is work tirelessly to make helmets safer, educate players every year about injuries and good tackling practices, and make sure when a player does get a concussion, he doesn't go back onto the field until he is fully healed. Shit, that sounds like a shitty slogan you could pass on. Not going on the field till you're fully healed. NFL. You're not going on the field till you're fully healed. NFL.
I don't like it.
You still get that one wrong, too. The XFL and the AAFL are coming, and if they want to be more popular than the NFL, all they have to do is allow players to hit each other. Now, to be logical and fair to the NFL, the best and easiest solution is to get rid of this rule. Just get rid of it now, say some PR shit like, yes, we've realized this isn't working, and now we're going to take some time to reevaluate the situation with more experts. And actually, we're going to talk to the players and see how they feel before we make more rule changes. Imagine that. And guess what? Here's the craziest thing. Fans will appreciate the fact that you owned up to your mistake, and this shit will blow over in a week. But the NFL is too stupid to do that, and we all know it. How many years did it take them to fix the fucking catch rule? And we still don't even know if that is actually fixed. The writing for this new rule was on the wall minutes into the first game of the year in the Hall of Fame game. This guy definitely didn't lower his head. He's basically standing, flagged anyway because the hit was a little too hard. And let me tell you, the writing on the wall isn't like cool, hip, artistic graffiti. It's like bathroom stall Sharpie graffiti that says Satan rules with Satan spelled wrong. The NFL, though, is the idiot with the Sharpie spelling its own rules fucking wrong.
We're going to have 1 million flags this year, right? I don't know how you're going to split the difference here.
Things fans and players never asked for, but got anyway. Make the game harder for the defense so more points can be scored. Make hitting harder for the defense under the guise of safety. Make hitting a quarterback too hard a penalty regardless of how textbook the tackle is. This was flagged last week as unnecessary roughness, and I have no idea why. During the Falcons-Chiefs game, Keanu Neal was flagged for this hit. A hit in which if anyone lowered their head, it was the ball carrier. This should never be a penalty in the NFL. The rule prior that made helmet-to-helmet contact illegal was fine. Nobody thinks you should use your head to spear another guy in the face. And for the most part, that rarely happens. The real issue here is how does the NFL allow a guy with the last name Neal to even play in the league? By name alone, isn't Keanu Neal always protesting the anthem? When you lower your body to tackle someone, your fucking head goes with you. Both the defender and the ball carrier lower their heads, so both of them should be flagged by definition every time this happens, except the rule says a player can lower his head to defend himself. Wow, that really makes it easy for the refs to never flag an offensive player during this rule, doesn't it? I actually got hurt worse trying to alter the way I tackle, so can I sue the NFL now? No? Alright, I'll just go fuck off then. This rule is already affecting youth sports, and that's the saddest part, really. Let's take a look. Everything here seems normal, and then boom! Leading with the head, 15-yard penalty, and you better find this girl's family $27,000 for the carelessness she demonstrated with her head. You know how I know this rule sucks? Here's the face of every NFL head coach after this penalty is enforced. That's the same face I make when my wife tries to explain the difference between pink and millennial blush to me. They're both pretty, though, I'll say that. Here's a fun little game you can play this NFL season. It's called Where's the Penalty? Go ahead, take a look, and tell me if you can see where the infraction happened on this kickoff. I sure as fuck couldn't, and neither could the guys in the replay booth because there was no replay of what happened. This penalty could be called on any play, really, and it gives the refs way too much leeway to change the course of a game, especially since they have the power to eject players for these hits. Now, I'm very sympathetic to players and their long-term health, especially with CTE, because I've watched 3 grandparents suffer through the hell that is Alzheimer's disease. I know they are different things, but memory loss and changes to personality are similar symptoms and is one of the worst things you can see happen to somebody you love. I never wish what happened to Ryan Shazier last season on anyone. He lowered his head and he hurt himself, right? The best thing you can do is re-educate players every year about this, but trying to force it while jeopardizing the entertainment value of your product is dumb. And you have players already vocalizing how much they don't like this rule. Richard Sherman, Derek Wolfe, Eric Weddle, and I'm sure there are more. The last argument being made is the NFL is going to overcall the new rule in the preseason. They're just throwing all the flags now. Why? Who the fuck does that help? Is it the players by confusing them as to what will really be called during the regular season? Is it the refs by training them to do their job wrong for 4 weeks and then asking them to change it once the regular season starts? That's like telling your quarterback to throw as many interceptions as he can in the preseason. That way he gets them all out of his system and the defenses will actually think he sucks and he'll be able to catch them by surprise in the regular season. Let's be honest here, people watch football because they like violence for entertainment. It's why the UFC is so popular, and it's why the Golden Girls was on the air for 7 years. That Blanche was a deviant. As long as players understand the consequences and risks of playing the game in terms of injury, then I'm okay watching them partake in violent activity. Imagine if Dana White said, to make the UFC safer, we're eliminating punches. There's just too many injuries coming from punches.
I don't like it.
Really, what I see as the NFL's biggest problem is they do not care about the fans who give the league its $14 billion plus every year, nor the players who they never consult with on how they might like to improve the game or rule changes. Until they realize that, we get shit on and players get shit on. Hi, I'm the NFL. I want to make the game safer because I care about the player. Just don't ask me to guarantee their contracts. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube and check out our weekly podcast. It's called That's Good Sports Podcast with Will Keys. We post every Thursday on my second YouTube channel, That's Good Broncos. It's also on iTunes, Podbean. So download it, give us a 5-star review if you're feeling frisky.